Hey, it's working. Chat. Nice. Boom. Boom. Tiff. What's up, Tiff? Okay, wait. Is this going to change something? If I do that? No. Okay. Neat. Oh, nothing much. Just on lunch. Gotcha. Cool. Oh, let me put an update in here. So, into the dark side of the moon. I don't know. Album details? Is that what I'm doing? I am. Hi, Dan. Greetings, Earthlings. I am recording this because I have a copy of the Dark Side of the Moon reaction. You know, it got blocked. And so now I'm just going to do some research on the album and see if I can edit this stuff into that reaction and then re-upload the reaction and have it not get blocked, ideally. Listening party? FitBev? No, not a listening party. Unfortunately. I do have some music to play, though. Tell me if you can hear it. Greetings from London. Hello. So I'm just going to go through this. I don't know. Did I pin that? Yeah. Taco Tuesday. Hello from Argentina. Welcome. So either I can just start reading Wikipedia and lyrics on genius.com, or the people in the chat can guide me on this journey into Dark Side of the Moon, the album, like what it meant, what it all means. What does it all mean? FitBev, you said you hate that one got blocked. Yeah, I hate it too, especially now because I keep seeing new reactions popping up for it that obviously are live. So that makes me sad. So anyway, I'm not giving up on this thing. I gotta edit it somehow and re-upload it. I'm gonna try it. So I figure I'll add some additional detail about the album, maybe the lyrics, and splice that stuff in, and then we'll see what happens. Quack, you don't know anything about it, about this album, I guess? FitBev, no, they never told me. They just, it's just a standard, you know, this has been blocked due to whatever copyright thing. So they don't really give you any detail. I have a suspicion it's that I listened for longer periods instead of pausing more frequently and then talking. So this is my plan now, is to insert these little bits. Like I can talk about, I don't know, maybe I'll just read a paragraph, what the album was about, and insert this stuff kind of into it. Upload that and try again. So that's what I'm doing. So this is just live research, me diving into the album. I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if this is going to be boring for people, probably. And tell me if you can hear the music that's playing. It might be too quiet. But that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing today. Okay, I'm just making sure I see everything. Okay. Dark Side of the Moon, 8th studio album by English progressive rock band Pink Floyd, released on March 1st, 73 by Capitol Records. See you, Quack. Oh. March 1st, 1973 in the US. And on the 16th of March by Harvest Records in the UK. Developed during live? It was developed during live performances? It was conceived as a concept album that would focus on the pressures faced by the band during their arduous lifestyle. Dan says, if you edit the Dark Side of the Moon video, I'll watch it over and over to bump up your algorithm. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. I appreciate that. The danger of inserting whatever I'm going to insert from this recording into it is just breaking that flow. So fingers crossed I can make it not annoying, not super intrusive to the actual reaction I recorded, but it's a crapshoot. Okay, and also deal with the mental health problems of former band member Syd Barrett. New material was recorded in two sessions in 72 and 73 at EMI Studios, now Abbey Road Studios in London. Well, okay, the Syd Barrett part, I don't remember if Syd was actually on this album. Is Syd... Do they say... Oh, wait, maybe it does. So I don't remember... Yeah, I don't remember if Syd Barrett was actually part of Dark Side of the Moon album, because... Was he? And then Wish You Were Here came after? Is that how it went? I think that's how it went. So the interesting thing here is developed during live performance. So were they touring? Does that mean they were on some type of tour and then came up with concepts during some tour or something? Rajiv says there's a great performance or two from Muse at Abbey Road Studios in 2006. Oh, that's interesting. A performance in the studio? That would be cool. It probably sounds really good. Oops. Oh, there's Syd. Actually, yeah, does that highlight? There we go. Syd Barrett was an English singer, guitarist, and songwriter. Co-founded Pink Floyd in '65 until his departure in... Oh, so he wasn't in Dark Side of the Moon. He was the primary frontman and songwriter. Oh, wow. Okay, so he departed in '68. Well, then I wonder how long it took them to come up with the concepts of this, because released in '73, but I'm curious when it was recorded then. Oh, yeah, and hopefully, yeah. Okay, I want to go into this Alan Parsons stuff here, too. Hey, Charlotte. Yeah, I know. I know there's a comeback. I'll wait for the full album or release. Rajiv, you're asking, do I do live reactions? I love the Muse ones. You've seen watched live, seen them about 5 times. Rajiv, do you mean me watching a live performance? I've done a couple of those. If it's like a concert, I don't do reactions while I'm on YouTube Live. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I would probably watch I would rather watch a concert or a live performance video over a music video. Record built on Floyd's earlier recordings before limiting these. Oh, here we go. Okay, the group employed multi-track recording tape loops and analog synthesizers, including experimentation with the EMS VCS3 and Synthie A. Engineer Alan Parsons was responsible for many aspects of the recording and for the recruitment of the session singer Claire Torrey, who appears on Great Gig in the Sky. Oh, I think I missed that part, that Alan recruited Claire to be part of that song. Dark Side of the Moon explores themes such as conflict, greed, time, death, and mental illness. Oh, cool. Okay, so the sleeve, which depicts a prismatic spectrum, designed by Storm Thorgerson, in response to keyboardist Richard Wright's request for a simple and bold design which would represent the band's lighting and the album's themes. Oh, that's cool. I'm interested in figuring out who Storm is. English art director and music video director? Oh, and he created... Wow. Okay, he worked with a bunch of people. Alan Parsons Project, Black Sabbath, Catherine Wheel, The Cranberries, Led Zeppelin, and more, it looks like. Wow. Oh, here we go. Okay, so as a blockbuster release of the album era, it also propelled record sales throughout the music industry during the 70s. Certified platinum 14 times in the United Kingdom and topped US Billboard LPs chart. Where it oh, there we go. There's that record where it charted for 996 weeks. That is bananas. Hey, Charlotte. Thank you. Charlotte said, I do love everything you post. Okay, Dan Roth says, brain damage lyric. And if the band you're in starts playing a different tune, refers to when Sid was so high he wasn't playing the song the rest of the band was playing. Oh, wow. Okay. So if he left, so if Sid left in 68, right, so he had left in 68. So Dan, what you're saying is that the remaining members of Pink Floyd had all of these encounters or challenges, whatever, working with Sid, and so they put those lyrics into the song the songs on Dark Side of the Moon. And I suppose Wish You Were Here too, right? I can't remember. Brain Damage? I can't remember which album the track Brain Damage is on. Okay, this is really, I mean, it's shocking here that this album was charted for 996 weeks. I can't imagine. I'm curious is that still the record? I mean, has anything been on the chart for longer than that? I cannot imagine. And if it is, it's probably Taylor Swift. Dark Side of the Moon sold over 45 million copies worldwide, making it the band's best-selling release, the best-selling album of the 70s, and the fourth best-selling album in history. Oh, in 2012, the album was selected for preservation in the United States National Recording Registry by the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically, I think I can say that word, significant. Inducted in the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999. Does this tell me what it is? That's, yeah. I wonder what it was like at that time when that came out. And how many of those 45 million copies were sold in the first, like, in those 996 weeks? Maybe all of them. This LP, or I don't even know how you track that, because back then it was actual records. Or tapes, I guess. But I don't know how you even measure that now with digital and streaming. And oh, Dan, you said Brain Damage is on Dark Side of the Moon. Okay. Yeah, I don't... Whenever I play that album, I just play it, and I don't look at the names of the tracks. Okay, so this is... Yeah, this is Dark Side of the Moon. Oh, there we go. There's the chronology. Okay, so Wish You Were Here came out in 75. Got it. Okay, here's perfect. So following... Oh, Metal. So I haven't listened to that yet. Following Metal in 71, Pink Floyd assembled a tour of Britain, Japan, and the United States that December in a band meeting at the home of drummer Nick Mason in North. Okay, Roger Waters proposed that a new album could form part of the tour. Waters conceived an album that dealt with things that made people mad. Okay, focusing on the pressures associated with the band's arduous lifestyle, dealing with the mental health problems of Syd Barrett. Okay, that was an intro. All right, here we go. So in an interview for Rolling Stone, the guitarist David Gilmour said, "I think we all thought, and Roger definitely thought, that a lot of the lyrics that we had been using were a little too indirect. There was definitely a feeling that the words were going to be very clear and specific." So the albums that I've heard, I think all are they all after Dark Side of the Moon? So now I'm curious what, say, Metal sounded like, or what those lyrics talked about. The band approved of Wander's concept album. Or maybe just... This is crazy. Okay. Hey, Jonathan. What's going on? I'm trying to learn about Dark Side of the Moon album. Oh, here we go. Okay, so Dark Side of the Moon, a piece for assorted lunatics, as it was known, performed for an assembled press on 17 February 1972 at the Rainbow Theater, more than a year before the release, and was critically acclaimed. Oh, Michael Whale of the Times described the piece as bringing tears to the eyes. It was so completely understanding and musically questioning. Huh. I imagine bringing tears to the eyes is... He's got to be talking about Claire's part in there. Okay. Derek Jewell of the Sunday Times wrote, "The ambition of Floyd's artistic intention is now vast." Oh, Melody Maker was less than enthusiastic. Musically, there were some great ideas, but the sound effects often left me wondering if I was in a birdcage at a London zoo. Okay, not a great review there. The following tour was praised by the public. Oh, and the new material was performed in the same order which was eventually sequenced on the album. Oh, but those... Okay, but the differences included the lack of synthesizers in the tracks, such as On the Run, and Claire's Claire Torrey's vocals on Great Gig in the Sky replaced by readings from the Bible. So was that the... Well, I guess if you don't have Claire there, you can't... I mean, somebody could have attempted to do that live if they had... I mean, they could have. But so then, is that what they did when they were live? They didn't have Claire and they had readings from the Bible? Elgon says, on Metal, there's a song called One of These Days. It's mainly instrumental. The only lyric is a heavy, distorted spoken part that is beneath a heavy pounding drum in the mix. Oh, and Jonathan. Yeah, you said Era was an 8 out of 10. Really good album. Well, I'm glad you liked it, Jonathan. Oh, thank you. Bellamy? 8098. Thank you so much. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. Where was I? Bible. Okay. The tour. Okay, the concept. Here we go. Just skimming this here. Found that. Oh, right. Okay, so following the departure of founding member Syd Barrett in 1968, Gilmour was Barrett's replacement. Later referred to those instrumentals at that psychedelic noodling stuff. He and Waters cited 1971's Metal as a turning point towards what would later be realized on the album. And the themes on the album are conflict, greed, passage of time, death, and insanity. And the insanity inspired by Barrett's deteriorating mental state. Alexander said, Argentina is playing. Why is a person from Argentina watching this? Is Argentina playing right now? Dang it, this is a bad time to do this. I didn't look at the football schedule before I started this. Bellamy, can't wait for your next Muse reaction. Oh, yeah, thanks. I mean, I'll do it. I'll do them eventually. Oh, right. Each side of the vinyl album is a continuous piece of music. Right. And I can't remember where the break is where you would flip it over. 5 tracks on each side reflect various stages of human life, beginning and ending with the heartbeat, exploring the nature of the human experience and, according to Waters, empathy. Martin says, I'm seeing the match while having the stream on my phone. Okay, speak to me and breathe together. Highlight the mundane and futile elements of life that accompany the ever-present threat of madness and the importance of living one's own life. Don't be afraid to care. Oh, Jonathan, you said Great Gig in the Sky is the end of side 1, and that's when you would flip the record. By shifting the scene to an airport, the synthesizer-driven instrumental On the Run evokes the stress and anxiety of modern travel. In particular, Wright's fear of flying. Oh. Time examines the manner in which its passage can control one's life and offer stark warning to those who remain focused on mundane pursuits, like making reaction videos on YouTube. It is concluded with a retreat into solitude and withdrawal in the reprise of Breathe. Oh, Elgon, you said Egypt is leading Argentina. Oh, wow. Uh-oh. Oh, there you go. The first side of the album ends with right inclaratory, soulful metaphor for death, the great gig in the sky. Yeah, Money, the first track on side 2 opens with the sound of cash registers and rhythmically jingling coins. That was so cool. This doing the reaction to that part was so great that it wasn't just a cash register as the first thing you hear and then just going into music. It's that it was like on beat and used in the actual, like used as music, which was so great. It still sounds great. The song mocks greed and consumerism with sarcastic lyrics and cash-related sound effects. Money became the band's most commercially successful track. It was covered by Art. So I know that I had heard that song before I did the reaction. I had heard that song. I don't remember when the last time I had heard it was. Before that, it was probably decades ago. Us and Them addresses the senseless nature of war, the ignorance of modern day humans who have been taken over by materialism, and the isolation of the depressed with the use of simple dichotomies to describe personal relationships. I mean, more applicable today than even it was then. I mean, isolation today, even worse, I would guess. Mac, you said Pulse nightclub live performance of Great Gig and Comfortably Numb is mind-blowing. Yeah, Pulse has been mentioned several times. I think I'll have to watch that eventually. I just want to make sure that I want to hear all the albums that are in that concert. So whatever the track listing is for that concert, I just got to go through those first, and then I'll get to the live shows. Jonathan, you're saying the first side of the album is pretty much a metaphor for life. The second side shows the problems in our society. I like that. Thank you. That's a simple breakdown. This is okay. So any color you like. I want to. Well, I'll go through the lyrics. You know, I've got Genius lyric website up here in the other tab, which I want to check out. But this is really interesting to me because I'm kind of fascinated by this. Or not, sorry, not that one. The isolation one. Not that one. This one. Isolation and the depressed. Social media and who knows, work from home and etc. All these things leading to this and this in higher rates. And I want to go through these lyrics now and see what that's saying. Brain Damage looks at mental illness resulting from the elevation of fame and success above the needs of the self. In particular, the line. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I forgot who just mentioned this in the chat. Reflects the mental breakdown of Sid. The album ends with Eclipse, which espouses the concepts of otherness and unity while encouraging the listener to recognize the common traits shared by humanity. Wow. Oh, a picture of Abbey Road Studios. That doesn't look like a studio. That looks like a very nice home. Somebody's nice home. Cheesesteak. Cheesesteak says, "Hey brother, glad to catch you live. Didn't we tell you this album and this band would change your perspective of music? I'm sure you did, and you were right. You were right." And Martin said, "There are many songs I prefer listening to on the Pulse rather than the studio albums." And I'm sure many people will agree. Yeah, is that, Martin, are you saying that because you just generally prefer live, like a live recording versus a studio recording? Or is there something that's, I mean, it's all going to be different from an album, but just curious what aspect of the live version you enjoy more than the album part. Oh yeah, okay. Darkside was recorded at EMI Studio, now Abbey Road. In approximately 60 days? Huh. I don't know. Is that a long time? I don't know how long it takes to make an album, but... Oh, here we go. Pink Floyd were assigned staff engineer Alan Parsons, who had worked as the assistant tape operator on their 5th album, Atom Heart Mother, and gained experience as a recording engineer on the Beatles albums Abbey Road and Let It Be. So he was the engineer for those, for the Beatle records. And then he was, yeah, assistant tape operator. Wow. Okay. So, that's crazy. Mihao, how's it going? How are you? Oh, and Cheesesteak, you're saying the gentleman at the end of the album said there is no dark side of the moon. It was the doorman, Jerry O'Driscoll, at Abbey Road Studios. Yeah, that's right. I remember that they were recording people that they knew or just interacted with and put those vocals in the album. Mihal, he said, "I'm good. I'm glad you finally checked out Absolution." Yeah, it's a good album. Oh, and Jonathan, you said the YouTube channel Polyphonic has a breakdown of every Dark Side song, and you highly recommend watching. I will do that. I will do that. All right, this. Oh, and Cheesesteak, right. The full statement is there is no dark side of the moon, really. As a matter of fact, it's all dark. It's only the sun that makes it appear light. And Martin, you're saying you not always. There are certain bands and concerts that trigger that feeling. For Wish You Were Here, I generally prefer the studio album, but Comfortably Numb is a must on the Pulse concert. Cheesesteak, I agree. You said, what a beautiful statement, even though it wasn't intentional to be so prolific. Right. I agree with that. It's, yeah, the more you learn about this album, it's just the like, I don't know if you call it's not like randomness, but getting to hear all the little scenarios or chances taken, or maybe maybe you give them credit for their creativity, but the assigning of Alan Parsons, maybe that was not as rare or as improbable or whatever you want to call it. But then bringing in Claire and then grabbing these quotes from these people, like the doorman at the studio, and then putting that all together and creating this arguably one of the greatest albums of all time. It's fascinating. All these little threads, all these little things that had to happen that were, it's hard to say they weren't planned, because at some point, isn't there the story of Great Gig in the Sky where, how does it go? They wanted Claire to do something. They found out that they asked her to do something that wasn't working, and then they decided, scratch that, just improvise, and it was that aspect, or that's what's in the recording that, and in my opinion, is what makes that song so impressive. Cheesesteak, you said this is an example of a point in history when all the right people and all the right things aligned exactly. Yes, agree with that. Oh, and Cheesesteak, you're saying Claire started singing and they told her, no, we don't want lyrics. They had to explain the concept. Meow is are you the #1 fan of Muse? Meow? Yeah, I'll do more Muse. I haven't decided on an album to do. Meow, I'll need your help. Maybe a suggestion with that. I think I have a list, but as of now, no decisions. The next reaction I have to do. The next reaction I want to do is The Wall. So I mean, and not just, that's not just the next Pink Floyd. That's the next one I'm gonna do is gonna be The Wall. What I want to try to do first is edit the old Dark Side of the Moon reaction, get that uploaded, see if it'll get through the copyright, and then I'll do The Wall. So it's gonna take a little time to make this edit happen, but. And Mac says they wanted Claire to sing as if her voice was an instrument. And what a great idea or instruction. And she absolutely knocked it out of the park. Absolutely crushed it. I can't imagine any possible improvement that could be made to her performance. Oh, Cheesesteak, you're saying you think wait, did you say you think I should watch? Oh, Cheesesteak, you said I should check out The Wall, the movie. It has songs in it that are not on the album and explains the story in its entirety. Got it. Yeah, but the movie, I mean, if I did the movie, I would do the album first. I definitely want to see the album first. And I might do the movie. Oh, right. Dark Side of the Moon sessions made use of advanced studio techniques, specifically the Studer A80 16-track recorders. Appreciable advantage over the 8 or 4-track recordings they'd previously made. So, although the band often used so many tracks that the second generation copies were still needed to make more space available on the tape. Mix supervisor Chris Thomas recalled later, there were only 2 or 3 tracks of drums when we came to mixing it. Depending on the song, there would be 1 or 2 tracks of guitar. These would include the solo and the rhythm guitar parts, 1 track for keyboard, 1 track for bass, and 1 or 2 sound effects tracks. They had been very, very efficient in the way they worked. That, okay, then maybe see 16-track recorder, and the fact that all this is on tape is, oh, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine how. I mean, it's just the process of doing that, and to think that even before that, there were, if you're going to record something, you had like 4 tracks. We're now on, with software, you have an infinite number of tracks to play around with. Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. If there's a, that's what I should look for, is if there's any documentary-ish or behind the scenes footage of them in the studio showing how all this stuff is done, how they actually made it, how they recorded it and mixed it. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Does that thing exist? Does anybody know? Cheesesteak says yes. Okay. Then if that does exist, I would like to know the title of it. I don't know if you can paste a URL in the chat. I think I might have disabled URLs in the chat due to some spam a long time ago, so sorry about that. But you can definitely... Yeah, I don't even know if you can leave it in the chat or the comment. But anyway, if it's on YouTube, let me know. It's on YouTube, and Roger explains how he got the sounds from the new technology. Okay, Cheesesteak or somebody, do you know the name of that video, and then I can search it, or which channel it's on? Because I definitely want to watch that. The first track recorded was Us and Them on the 31st of May, followed 7 days later by Money. For Money, Waters had created effects loops in an unusual 7/4 time signature. From recordings of money-related objects, including coins thrown into a mixing bowl in his wife's pottery studio. God, that's awesome. And then just that even, I mean, how hard that must have been, or clunky it must have been to, in the, whenever they record, wait, when did they record this? 31 May? Is that, I don't know what year that was. Oh, 72, 73. To grab like a microphone, and like what device they must have had, you know, instead of like a phone, you could just record it. It must have taken some effort to bring that device or whatever into a pottery studio and record the stuff. These were recorded. Oh, these were re-recorded to take advantage of the band's decision to create a quadraphonic mix of the album. Although Parsons later expressed dissatisfaction with the results of this mix, which he attributed to a lack of time and a shortage of tape recorders. Okay. I don't know anything about Alan, but that sounds right. A shortage of multi-track tape recorders sounds, that sounds right. I'm surprised he was dissatisfied. I mean, a little bit, but... Okay, Mandula 10 says not specifically about recording Dark Side of the Moon, but the Sound City documentary of 2013 and the Foo Fighters Back and Forth 2011 documentary both showcase analog tape recording. Oh, that would be really cool. Both worth watching for music enthusiasts, especially analog era fans. Doors. Oh, okay. Martin said, speaking of Alan Parsons, you have to listen to Eye in the Sky. Okay, I'll get there. And then Max said, would love to hear your review of the Doors album, Morrison Hotel. I think you'll love the Doors. I haven't done any of the Doors because I know quite a bit of their music. I can look at that. I can look at that album and see if anything is familiar to me. I mean, I know their most, you know, Break On Through and whatever their most popular songs are, but maybe it'd be fun. I like, yeah, going backwards, doing older stuff has been really fun. Okay, Mihao, I got you. Yeah, you can, Mihao, you can drop it in the, yeah, that, I forgot what the thing is called, this suggestions or whatever area. Cheesesteak says, it's called The Making of Dark Side of the Moon, and there's a few documentaries on YouTube. It seems there's many different ones now. Some of them you need to pay for. Okay, cool. I will watch that. It just sounds fascinating for me. Time and The Great Gig in the Sky were recorded next, followed by a 2-month break, during which the band spent time with their families and prepared for a tour of the United States. Huh. The recording sessions were frequently interrupted? Waters, a supporter of Arsenal FC, would break to see his team compete, and the band would occasionally stop to watch Monty Python's Flying Circus on television while Parsons worked on the tracks. That is hilarious. Gilmore recalled, but when we were on a roll, we would get on. That is awesome. So at least they took breaks to enjoy themselves outside of working so hard. So it sounds like they had a decent balance. After returning from the US in January 73, they recorded Brain Damage, Eclipse, Any Color You Like, and On the Run. Hey, Mac, thank you for joining. Appreciate that. And fine-tuned work from previous sessions. 4 female vocalists were assembled to sing on Brain Damage, Eclipse, and Time. And saxophonist Dick Perry was booked to play Us and Them and Money with the director Adrian Maben. The band also filmed studio footage for Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii. The album was completed and signed off at Abbey Road on the 9th of February, 1973. Gilmore recalled the band listening to the finished album for the first time as a moment of great joy and of satisfaction, and the feeling of achievement that we'd really gone that extra mile. All right. This is fascinating. Okay. Oh, here we go. The sound effects on Money were created by splicing together Waters' recordings of clinking coins, tearing paper, a ringing cash register, and a clicking adding machine, which were used to create that 7-beat effects loop. This was later adapted to 4 tracks to create a walk around the room effect in quadraphonic presentations of the album. This is the part, or this is the piece that I wish I could hear somehow, some way. I want to know what that sounded like, because my basic understanding of this is it's 4 speakers, basically corners of a room, the person in the middle, but the speakers, I'm sure they probably use some balance, like the walking around the room, maybe the sound traveled, but it's loud enough sound, or a wide range of all the sounds, and you're getting it from essentially every angle, so you're literally surrounded. Unlike a typical surround sound system where you've got these like big speakers by your TV and these tiny little things behind you that kind of, don't give you the full spectrum. So, and then I assume it'll get in here, but reading from comments, they apparently did or set up a concert that way as well, and that had to have been the most amazing concert experience ever if you're getting that full sound from every direction instead of like just the front, like from the front of the stage. Sweetie, is that how I pronounce your name? Dark Side of the Moon is perfect for Dolby 5.1. Is that what that means? Because its clocks, voices, effects, and atmosphere were made to move around you, not just play in front of you. Perfect. Yeah, cheesesteak. That's why it's called the quadraphonic. Well, yeah, I mean, cheesesteak, I know quad 4, but there's surround sound systems with 4, which would be like 2 big ass speakers and 2 tiny ones that, the tiny ones don't give you much, in my opinion. Cheesesteak, there was also the purpose of this album experimenting with new musical technology and sound. Yeah. And Cheesesteak live at Pompeii, my one-time travel wish. Yeah, so Cheesesteak, then is the Pompeii, the live at Pompeii, was that done? Well, wait, that was a concert, right? It wasn't just the name of a thing that they did, or like a movie. If that's one of the concerts that was in that quadraphonic thing, that would have... Yeah, I agree with you. I would go with you. If you build that time machine, come pick me up before you go. Oh, Mac, thank you so much. Man, you guys, thank you. Thank you for that, really, Mac. I appreciate it. Cheesesteak, you said live at Pompeii was done privately, just by the band and the stagehands at the Pompeii excavated stadium. What? All right, yeah. I didn't know that. I assumed it was just a, not just a, but I assumed it was a full concert with crowd and whatnot. Oh, and later though they did a live concert there. I see. Okay. Man, I am missing out. There was a comment. I believe someone said there are still there may be still places where you can hear this quadraphonic, like a setup at, I don't know if it's at like a record store or something, but that is an experience I want to see if I can find somehow, some way. All right, here we go. Here we go. That was the loop. All right. Oh, the money sound effects. Okay, this was later adapted to 4 tracks to create the walk around a room. Okay, and the side quadraphonic. Okay, great. At times, the degree of sonic experimentation on the album required the studio engineers and all 4 band members to operate the mixing console's faders simultaneously. Oh my god. In order to mix down the intricately assembled multi-track recordings of several of the songs, particularly On the Run. Wow. All because you need what, that many hands to, when you're playing the tape back, you need that many hands to do it. That just, I mean, the ease at which you can do these things and even automate faders now with software. Now it seems like the 60-day thing. Where did it say that this was recorded over 60 days? Now I think I agree with Alan, who said that there wasn't enough time. There wasn't enough time. He said there wasn't enough multi-track recordings, and they probably literally didn't have enough hands to turn knobs for his taste. Along with conventional rock band instrumentation, Pink Floyd introduced prominent synthesizers to their sound. EMS VC. Oh, look at that thing. Wild. Oh, Jonathan, you said a little fun fact about Live at Pompeii. Some kids snuck into the performance, and the people helping there said they could stay as long as they didn't cause trouble. So did they cause trouble? Those kids didn't know how lucky they were. That is true. Hey, Lizzie. ATs. I will. Eventually. No, I haven't. I haven't listened to it. I haven't listened to ATs in a while. Okay. Synthesizer on Brain Damage, any color you like. Time on the Run. They also devised and recorded unconventional sounds, such as assistant Peter James running around the studio's echo chamber in On the Run. The studio has an echo chamber? That's bizarre. And specifically treated bass drum made to simulate a heartbeat. Oh, wow. I wonder if that was specifically treated just for that track or just for them, or if that's a thing that somebody had and you could rent it or buy it or something. This heartbeat is the most prominent in the intro and the outro to the album. It can also be heard sporadically on Time and on the Run. Okay, Time features a sort of clocks ticking, yep, and then chiming simultaneously at the start of the song, accompanied by a series of rototoms. See, there we go again. This is amazing. The recordings were initially created as a quadraphonic test by Parsons, who recorded each timepiece at an antique clock shop. Although these recordings had not been created specifically for the album, elements of this material were eventually used in the track. Again, like the randomness, the experimentation, in this case, it looks like Parsons was wanted to go to an antique clock shop and record some clocks. And the gear he must have had to carry, and the people who let him do it or must have seen him do it. And then to use it, and then eventually to use it in the... Wild. That... Yeah, it's so many things. So many things gone into this. It's hard to comprehend. Several tracks. All right, getting into the voices now. Several tracks, including Us and Them and Time, demonstrated Wright's and Gilmour's ability to harmonize their similar sounding voices. And engineer Alan Parsons used techniques such as double tracking vocals and guitars, which allowed Gilmour to harmonize with himself, double tracking. An audio recording technique in which a performer sings or plays along with their own pre-recorded performance, usually to produce a stronger or bigger sound than can be obtained with a single voice or instrument, a form of overdubbing. Okay. Prominent use was also made of phalanging, audio effect produced by mixing two identical signals together, one signal delayed. Usually smaller than 20 milliseconds, this produces a swept comb filter effect. And phase shifting. God, I gotta learn my vocabulary here. Phase shifting on vocals and instruments. Odd trickery with reverb and the panning of sounds between the channels, most notably in the quadraphonic mix of On the Run, where the sound of the Hammond B3 organ played through a Leslie speaker swirls around the listener. So that is it the shoot, now I want to check. I gotta check. Because I'm thinking, or I'm wondering if any of that works with spatial audio, and if that can be recreated or not. And I can't remember if the 50th anniversary was in spatial or not. No. Okay, so I'm in Apple Music, and Dark Side of the Moon 50th anniversary remastered is in lossless, but it's not in spatial audio, and neither is the original. The original release, Dark Side of the Moon, in Apple Music is also high res, but not in Dolby Atmos or spatial audio. Because I wonder if you could, somebody must have done it already, or must have at least tried it to use spatial audio to get that quadraphonic effect. Well, that would be interesting if they did another re-release and did it in spatial audio. Oh, there's a picture of Claire Torrey. Writes the Great Gig in the Sky features Claire Torrey, a session singer and songwriter, and a regular at Abbey Road. Parsons liked her voice, and when the band decided to use a female vocalist, he suggested that she could sing on the track. The band explained the album concept to her, but they were unable to tell her exactly what she should do. Gilmour, who was in charge of the session, asked her to try and express her emotions rather than sing with words. In a few takes on a Saturday night, Torrey improvised a wordless melody to accompany Wright's emotive piano solo. She was initially embarrassed by her exuberance in the recording booth and wanted to apologize to the band, who were impressed with her performance but did not tell her so. Her takes were edited to produce the version used on the track. She left the studio under the impression that her vocals would not make the final cut. And she only became aware that she had been included in the final mix when she picked up the album at a local record store and saw her name in the credits. For her contribution, she was paid her standard session fee, £30, equivalent to about $360 in 2025. Cheesesteak, yes, again, she did an interview, which you can find on YouTube. It's amazing how nonchalantly she talks about it like it was just another job with a little, she didn't know it at the time. All right, see you, Miho. Fascinating. And then the lawsuit, which I've heard about in the comments. In 2004, Torrey sued EMI and Pink Floyd for 50% of the songwriting royalties, arguing that her contribution to Great Gig in the Sky was substantial enough to be considered co-authorship. The case was settled out of court for an undisclosed sum, with all post-2005 pressings crediting Wright and Torrey jointly. Amazing. That must have been, I don't know, bittersweet. I mean, the final week of recording, Waters asked the staff and others at Abbey Road. Oh, is this? Here we go. Okay, so in the final week of the recording, Waters asked staff and others at Abbey Road to respond to questions printed on flashcards, and some of their replies were edited into the final mix. The interviewees were placed in front of a microphone in a darkened Studio 3 and shown such questions as, what is your favorite color? What is your favorite food? Before moving on to themes central to the album, including those of madness, violence, and death. Questions such as, when was the last time you were violent? Followed immediately by, were you in the right? Were answered in the order they were presented. What? The strategy there of getting people to open up by asking easy questions. What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What city were you born? All these kind of typical beginning interview questions to get people to kind of let their guard down a little bit, and then bring in the deeper questions along the themes of the album later. So smart. And Cheesesteak says, and again, the most prolific of them all was from a simple Irish doorman who has lived life. He also said, in the album Why I Should Be Frightened of Dying. We all have to go sometime. Yeah, I remember that quote. That's just like the idea of doing that, and then how they did it is really interesting, to present them with these flashcards and have people just give whatever was what the first thing they thought of, or just wild. The story about this album is wild, like just unbelievable. Roadie Roger the Hat Manifold was recorded in a conventional sit-down interview. Waters asked him about a violent encounter he had with a motorist, and Manifold replied, "Give him a quick, short, sharp shock." Asked about death, he responded, "Live for today, gone tomorrow, that's me." Another roadie, Chris Adamson, recorded the words that open the album. "I've been mad for fucking years, absolutely years, over the edge. It's working with bands that does it." Hilarious. Oh, the band's road manager, Peter Watts, father of the actress Naomi Watts, contributed the repeated laughter during Brain Damage and Speak to Me, as well as the line, "I can't think of anything to say." His second wife, Patricia Puddle Watts, now Patricia Gleason, was responsible for the line about the geezer who was cruising for a bruising. It was... Oh, and the words, I've never said I was frightened of dying halfway through the Great Ring of the Sky. Wow. There it is. Okay, and the closing. Right. There is no dark side of the moon, really. Matter of fact, I think it's all dark. It came from the Doorman. Yeah. The bit you don't hear, Parsons said. Wait, the bit you don't hear, said Parsons, is that after that he said, "The only thing that makes you look a light is the sun." The band were too overjoyed with his first line, and it would have been an anticlimax to continue. Wow. Paul and Linda McCartney were interviewed, but their answers judged to be trying too hard to be funny were not used. McCartney's Wings bandmate, Henry McCulloch, contributed the line, "I don't know, I was really drunk at the time." I mean, that's a funny line. To me it is. Sweetie said Paul McCartney from the Beatles was at Abbey Road. So Pink Floyd interviewed him for the... So they interviewed him for the spoken voice parts, but his answer sounded too clever. Waters wanted raw, ordinary, honest voices, so Paul was cut. That, I mean, like that, this whole, the whole scenario of everything that happened at Abbey Road is crazy. You got like Paul McCartney and probably the Beatles just there. And then they're recording this album. You've got all this perfect, as somebody said in the chat, this perfect mix of people and events, and randomly, if you've got Alan Parsons who's going out on his own to record some clocks for whatever reason to just test technology, ends up using those. I mean, the list goes on and on of all of these little things that had to happen for this album to be what it is. Completion. Cheesesteak says, "Believe me, the Beatles wouldn't have become who they were in their later albums without Pink Floyd." They used to sneak into their concerts. Are you saying, Chisek, are you saying the Beatles used to sneak into Pink Floyd concerts? I mean, I'm trying to remember Beatles are another band that I never really got into. It just, I should. I mean, I know obviously several of their songs, but I never really got into them. So I'm trying to think of the timeline in the 70s. I think the Beatles were gigantic in the 70s, yeah? So to have them try to sneak around into a concert is wild. Catherine says, "Oh, Roger Waters, you brilliant misanthrope." All right, flashcards. Completion, right? When the flashcard sessions were finished, producer Chris Thomas was hired to provide a fresh pair of ears for the final mix. Thomas's background was in music rather than engineering. He'd worked with Beatles co-producer George Martin, was an acquaintance of Pink Floyd's manager Steve O'Rourke. The members of the band were said to have disagreed over the mix, with Waters and Mason preferring a dry and clean mix that made more use of the non-musical elements, and Gilmour and Wright preferring a subtler, more echoey mix. Thomas said later, "There was no difference in opinion between them. I don't remember Roger once saying he wanted less echo. In fact, there were never any hints that they were later going to fall out. It was a very creative atmosphere, a lot of fun." Thomas's intervention resulted in a compromise between Waters and Gilmour, who were both left satisfied with the result. Thomas was responsible for significant changes, including the perfect timing of the echo used on Us and Them. He was also present for the recording of Great Gig in the Sky. Waters said in an interview, 2006, when he asked if he felt his goals had been accomplished in the studio. When the record was finished, I took a reel-to-reel copy home with me, and I remember playing it for my wife then, and I remember her bursting into tears when it was finished. And I thought, this is obviously struck a chord somewhere, and I was kind of pleased by that. Like, massive understatement. You know when you've done something, certainly if you create a piece of music, you then hear it with fresh ears when you play it for somebody else. And at that point, I thought to myself, wow, this is a pretty complete piece of work. And I had every confidence that people would respond to it. Jeez. Like, that effect of you play that album, and again, the bursting into tears thing, every time I hear that, someone getting emotional from that album, it's I immediately think of Claire Torrey, Great Gig in the Sky. And I wonder if if there are other sections that do that for other people. There must be. Oh, the design. Okay, the album was originally released in a gatefold LP sleeve designed by Hipgnosis and George Hardy. Okay, design sounds like controversy EMI had. Oh, they expected to see traditional designs, including lettering and words. Designer Storm Thorgerson Pro were able to ignore such criticism as they were employed by the band. For Dark Side of the Moon, Wright suggested something smarter, neater, more classy, and simple, like the artwork of a Black Magic chocolate box. Jonathan, yeah, the guitar solos, the sax solos, they say things that vocals could never say or do. I agree with that. This is just... The design was inspired by a photograph of a prism with a beam of white light projected through it and emerging in the colors of the visible spectrum that Torgerson had found in a 1963 physics textbook, as well as by an illustration by Alex Steinweiss, the inventor of... Wait, the inventor of album cover art? Huh. I don't think I've ever heard that name before. For New York Philharmonics. Oh, so this Steinweiss guy invented album cover art for the New York Philharmonic's 1942 performance of Beethoven's Emperor Concerto. Wow. The artwork was created by an associate. Nope, this is George Hardy, sorry. They offered a choice of 7 designs for the sleeve, but all 4 members of the band agreed that the prism was the best. There were no arguments, said Roger Waters. We all pointed to the prism and said, that's the one. Cheesesteak, yes, but not what the kids today believe the album cover is. Okay, 3 elements. Oh, wait a second. The design depicts a glass prism dispersing white light into colors and represents 3 elements: the band's stage lighting, the album lyrics, and Wright's request for a simple and bold design. The Waters' suggestion the spectrum light continues through the gatefold. Added shortly afterwards, the gatefold design also includes a visual representation of the heartbeat sound used throughout the album. In the back of the album cover contains Thorson's suggestion of another prism, recombining the spectrum of light to make it... Oh, wow. Okay, so he took into consideration the layouts of the sleeve in a store, like on a shelf, I assume. That's very smart. Inside the sleeve were 2 posters and 2 pyramid-themed stickers. One poster bore pictures of the band in concert overlaid with the scattered letters to form Pink Floyd, and the other an infrared photograph of the Great Pyramids of Giza? Wow. Oh, and look at this. The band were so confident of the quality of Waters' lyrics that for the first time, they printed them on the album's sleeve. That's... I don't think I ever owned a record. But I do remember buying cassettes. And I remember that it was a disappointment when you bought a cassette and it did not have the lyrics. You know, because back then you didn't have Google or the internet to go and just find out what they were saying immediately. So you had to just listen and listen and listen and try to piece it together. Oh. Wait, what? Okay. The quadrasonic mix of the album was not then complete. Oh, as the quadraphonic mix of the album was not then complete, the band, with the exception of Wright, boycotted the press reception held at the London Planetarium on 27th of February. The guests were instead presented with a quartet of life-size cardboard cutouts of the band, and the stereo mix of the album was played over a poor quality public address system. Oh my God. Generally, however, the press were enthusiastic. Melody makers Roy Hollingworth described side one as so utterly confused with itself, it was difficult to follow. But praised side two, writing, the songs, the sounds, the rhythms were solid and sound. Saxophone hit the air, the band rocked and rolled, and then gushed and tripped away into the night. Oh, here we go. Steve Peacock of Sounds wrote, I don't care if you've never heard a note of the Pink Floyd's music in your life. I'd unreservedly recommend everyone to Dark Side of the Moon. That's a great quote. I wonder if they ever tried that. I have to look. Chiseki saying, I wonder if they ever tried that. I have to look that up, something they would have done. Oh, Chiseki, I'm not sure if you're talking about trying that. Oh, wait. Where did I go? Shit, where was I? Oh, right here. Okay. 1973 review for Rolling Stone magazine, Lloyd Grossman declared Dark Side a fine album with a textural and conceptual richness that not only invites but demands involvement. That is such a great quote. Wow. Such a great quote. Oh, here we go. Okay. Robert Christgau found its lyrical ideas cliched and its music pretentious, but called it a kitsch masterpiece that can be charming with highlights such as taped speech fragments, Perry's saxophone, and studio effects which enhance Gilmour's solos. Can't please everybody. Here we go. This is what I was curious about when I saw the 45 million albums. And Dark Side of the Moon released in the US on March 1st of 73, then in the UK, March 16th. Became an instant chart success in Britain and throughout Western Europe. By the following month, it had gained gold certification in the US. Throughout March 73, the band played the album as part of their US tour, including a midnight performance at Radio City Music Hall in New York City on 17th of March before an audience of 6,000. The album reached the Billboard Top LPs and Tape charts #1 spot on the 28th of April 1973. It was so successful, the band returned 2 months later for another tour. In Canada, it was in the top 3 for 22 weeks between May 5th and September 29th, 1973. Bonkers. Oh, I want to... do I need to read about the label? I want to go to the sales here. Here we go. The Dark Side of the Moon became one of the best-selling albums of all time. Is in the top 25 of list of best-selling albums in the United States. Although it held the #1 spot in the US for only a week? No way. It remained in the Billboard 200 for 736 non-consecutive weeks. From March 1973 to July 1988. Holy crap. I'm okay, the number of weeks is bananas. But the fact that this was #1 spot for only 1 week, that's shocking to me. I would have assumed it would have been the #1 for quite some time. Oh, Cheesesteak, great point. When you say Dark Side of the Moon, it's the best album ever written. People always bring up Thriller, and I say I don't mean the top selling album. True. Catherine says, this album was part of my high school experience. I recall riding around with my classmates, the ones who could drive, and listening to an 8-track of the album during an endless summer in Canada. That sounds like a wonderful summer. Cheesesteak is optimistic, who says, give it more time and it will surpass the sales of Thriller and everything else. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I don't know where it sits now, or where Thriller's at, or whatever. Either way. But I agree with you, Cheesesteak. I totally would. I prefer Dark Side of the Moon to Thriller, obviously. All right, where do we go? So it made its final appearance in the Billboard 200 album chart during its initial run on the week ending October 8th, 1988, in its 741st charted week. It reappeared with the introduction of Top Pop Catalog Albums chart in the issue dated 25th of May, 1991. Wait. This is crazy. It reached #1 on the Pop chart catalog. The Pop catalog chart. When the 2003 hybrid CD, SACD, Super Audio CD, was released and sold 800,000 copies in the US. And then on the week of May 5th, 2006, Dark Side of the Moon achieved a combined 1,716 weeks on the Billboard 200 and Pop catalog charts. That, holy mackerel. So these re-releases of things, the people who love that album are, I assume it's got to be mostly people who love the album and are rebuying it. I mean, like, how many people who were brand new to Pink Floyd were buying it in May of 2006? Right? I mean, that is crazy. Cheesesteak and Endless Summer in Canada is about 6 weeks. Oh, that hits close to home, Cheesesteak. I'm not from Canada. I'm from Minnesota, and it's basically the same thing. The summertime is like 6 weeks in July and August. Otherwise, it's 30 degrees and chance of snow. Oh. Okay, Jeannie says, I think you would enjoy reading the book Inside Out by Drummer and Nick Mason. The chronicles of the band from the very beginning all the way through the last Pink album, The Endless River. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, thank you for that recommendation. Chia Gonzalez. Hola from Monterey. The summer lasts 11 months. That sounds awesome. I'm in LA now, and yeah, the summer feels like it kind of lasts forever. Dan Ross says, well, young ears such as yours listen to it for the first time and fall in love with the album. This drives album sales. Yeah, Dan, I get that, but like how many new people are there though? How many it's got to be such a tiny number of people who discover Pink Floyd for the first time in 2026. And I wonder if that number is going to get smaller in 2027 and even smaller in 2028. Unless something else happens, unless they re-release it again or do something to bring some attention to it. Catherine, Catherine's dropping some I don't know, some feels like poetry in the chat here. Endless Summer in Canada is pretty short, but that's what makes it so great. Add music like this to the mix and it becomes glorious. After all, this album describes brief, tragic, and glorious. It's perfect. Jonathan, you said they released a refreshed version of Live at Pompeii in theaters last year? Dang. Oh, I missed that too. Now I'll have to I gotta get on some type of mailing list or whatever for these kind of re-releases or anything like that. That would be that would have been fun to catch. Because a movie theater would be a great place to watch that concert. So if the live in Pompeii was that quite fun, just because the movie theater sound systems are so incredible, that would be a great way to do it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm even more angry that I didn't see that or didn't attend that. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll do it again. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this must be the effect of streaming here. After a change in chart methodology in 2009, which allowed it's catalog hits, which allowed catalog titles to be included in the Billboard 200, The Dark Side of the Moon returned to the chart at number 189 on the 12th of December for its 742nd charting week. It has continued sporadically to appear on the Billboard 200 since then, with the total at 996 as of January this year. On a slow week, between 8,000 and 9,000 copies are sold. Damn. As of April 2013, the album had sold 9.5 million copies in the US since 1991, when Nielsen began tracking sales for Billboard. In 2007, 1 in every 14 people in the US under the age of 50 was estimated to have owned a copy. Wow, that's a wild stat. Cheesesteak says, yes, the kids today, with the resurgence of vinyl, buy used. They want it vintage. They can't count that. Cheesesteak, you own 20 of them? You owned 20 copies of Dark Side of the Moon on vinyl? Is that what you're saying? And I mean, are you collecting them, or did you wear them out because you listened to it so often and you had to replenish? Oh, Dan, you said back in the 80s, I recall theaters would play The Wall as midnight movies. You're right, the theater sound The theater sound systems are excellent. Maybe there'll be something that'll do it. Maybe one of those theaters will do it again. They'll play if they did live at Pompeii, that would be amazing. No way, cheesesteak. Okay. Okay, so cheesesteak owned 20 Dark Side of the Moon albums on vinyl. And Cheesesteak did that saying, I opened them up so that the prism would connect running around my room, pinned to the wall. So you had a stripe. Did you put them at the top? Like it was like the trim, like a ceiling trim, or was it in the middle? I'm assuming you did it like that. Curious where you chose to place them on the wall, like height. Like where were they? Like eye level? Where did you want it? What was your setup? Workmatic says they released 24 karat gold CD prints for a while. You have one of those? What? Awesome. Sweetie says, I own the 1973 first pressing A1 vinyl. Your cousin gave it to you as a gift? Along with Metal the Wall, Wish You Were Here Animals. They are all treasure. Wow. Okay, Cheesesteak says at the top, near the ceiling, and again, the inside of the album, when you open it up, is the prism colors with the heartbeat running through it. When you put the albums together, they match up precisely. God, that's just genius. That's genius. That would be, man. I love it. Did people, like, like, Cheesesteak, there's got to be a story here about buying 20 albums. I'm really curious. Did you know that at the time, and you went to some record store, and I just imagining you have the stack of 20 of them, and you just like drop them on the counter and tell the person at the register, I'm buying all 20 of these. And how many did they have at the time? Did you buy them all at once? That's first question. And if you did, like, did you clean out some store? They're like, that's all we have. You can't buy all of them. Dan says you own the gold CD of The Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, okay. Oh, and she's like, you got them used. You can purchase them used for like $2. Yeah. Oh, and she's like, you had them given to you. Okay, well, that's even better. I'm really curious about that. That's just. And then did they line up perfectly, like the dimensions of your like? There's a whole lot. There's a whole lot that goes into lining those things up. All right. Oh, Dark Side of the Moon was released before the introduction of platinum certification in 1976, and therefore held only a gold certification until 1990, when it was certified 11 times platinum. Yeah, all right. And then in 1998, it was certified 15 times platinum, denoting sales of 15 million in the United States. This makes it Pink Floyd's biggest selling work there. The Wall is 23 times platinum, but as a double album, this signifies sales of 11.5 million. Money has sold well as a single, and with time, as with time, remains a radio favorite. For the U.S. in the U.S. So for the year ending April 20th, 2005, Time was played on 13,723 occasions, and Money 13,731 occasions. Wow. Oh, in 2017, Dark Side of the Moon was the 7th best-selling album of all time in the UK, and the highest-selling album never to reach #1. Is that right? Did it never reached #1 in the UK? Fascinating. Huh. As one of the blockbuster LPs of the album era, 60s through 2000, Dark Side of the Moon also led to an increase in record sales overall into the late 1970s. And in, that 45, okay, so in 2013, industry sources suggested that worldwide sales of Dark Side of the Moon totaled about 45 million. So that's an old number now. In 1993, Gilmour attributed the album's success to the combination of music, lyrics, and cover art. All the music before had not had any great lyrical point to it, and this one was clear and concise. So was Gilmour talking about all music or just Floyd's music? Okay, Mason said that when they finished the album, Pink Floyd felt confident it was their best work to date, but were surprised by its commercial success. He said it was not only about being a good album, but also about being in the right place at the right time. Again, one of these, all of these things piling up to equal this massive success and hit and everything. Oh, Workmatic asks, has anyone mentioned the syncing up of Dark Side of the Moon and the beginning of Wizard of Oz Black and White? I've heard that, or I should say I've heard of that, or I've heard people mention that. I don't know. Is that like a real thing? Never tried it. Oh, and Catherine says one of the reasons us old farts hated the ensmalling of album covers from LPs to cassettes and CDs was the ability to do things like cheesesteak. Also, the ability to read lyrics. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, cheesesteak says listening to an album was just part of the experience. Agreed. And Dan says Gilmour gives a lot of credit to Waters for the success of Dark Side. Oh, here we go. The 5.1. Okay. Reissues and remasters. Oh, there's the gold CD. All right. 1979 Dark Side of the Moon was released as a remastered LP by Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab. And in 1998 on their Ultradisc Gold CD format. It was released by EMI and Harvest on CD in Japan in June 1983, US and Europe in 84. In 1992, it was re-released as a remastered CD in the box set Shine On. Okay, I don't know if I've heard about that one. This version was re-released as a 20th anniversary box set edition with postcards the following year, with a cover designed by Torgerson. On some pressings, an orchestral version of the Beatles' Ticket to Ride is faintly audible after Eclipse over the closing heartbeats. Is that an Easter egg they put in there? How do you do that on some pressings and not all of them? Cheesesteak asks, Dark Side of the Moon, as well as Animals, Wish You Were Here, and The Wall are Roger's masterpieces, but can you imagine them without Gilmour? 30th anniversary 5.1 surround sound mix. Okay, the quadraphonic mix created by Alan Parsons was commissioned by EMI but never endorsed by Pink Floyd, as Parsons was disappointed with his mix. For the album's 30th anniversary, an updated surround sound version was released in 2003. The band elected not to use Parsons' quadraphonic mix and instead had the engineer James Guthrie create a new 5.1 channel surround sound mix on the SACD format, Super Audio CD. I don't think I've ever heard of this Super Audio CD format. Guthrie had worked with Pink Floyd since their 11th album, The Wall, and had previously worked on surround versions of The Wall for DVD video and Waters' In the Flesh for SACD. In 2003, Parsons expressed disappointment with Guthrie's SACD mix, suggesting he was possibly a little too true to the original mix, but was generally complimentary. The 30th anniversary edition won 4 Surround Music Awards in 2003, and that's sold those 800,000 copies. Wow. Okay, the cover image of the 30th anniversary edition was created by a team of designers including Thorgerson. The image is a picture of a custom-made stained glass window. Okay, so that's this version. Built to match the dimensions and proportions of the original prism design. Transparent glass held in place by strips of lead was used in place of the opaque colors of the original. The idea is derived from the sense of purity in the sound quality being 5.1 surround sound. The image was created out of desire to be the same but different, such that design was clearly Dark Side of the Moon. The still recognizable prism design, but was different and hence new. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I like that. Okay. Catherine asked, I always wonder what the band would have been if Syd Barrett had been able to maintain his mental health. Cheesesteak said, I thought of that myself about Syd. It wouldn't have been Pink Floyd. Again, the stars aligned with the right people. It was written in the stars what happened to Syd. And Jonathan says, if Syd was mentally stable, Pink Floyd would have still been great, but we would have never gotten the most incredible albums ever. And Dan agrees. I've always contended that if Syd remained, Pink Floyd would not have achieved the success that they achieved. Oh, and Cheesesteak, you make a good point there. Syd Barrett was an inspiration for Roger Waters. Oh, and Workmatic says, if Sid was stable, David probably never would have joined. Gosh, again, like all these things that, like, it's like the repeatable theme. I keep saying it over and over. It's obvious now. Cheesesteak. So you said you're going to do the wall. Yep. In some form, did you consider the final cut afterwards? The Last of Waters, Pink Floyd, and Brilliant in its own right. The final cut? That's an album name, I think. The Last of Waters, Pink Floyd. Yeah, I mean, Cheesesteak, I'm gonna do more Pink Floyd. Yes, I'm gonna do the wall. I want to hear metal, because I think the wall and metal are the two that people have said I should listen to, or the most often. Those are the two that people said I should hear. So definitely want to do those, and I might do more than that. I don't know if I'm gonna stop. I might just keep doing it, because I don't know. I just think it would be fun to see how it started. For some reason, I'm really curious about what their first album sounded like. I don't know the names of all their albums, so don't whatever. But to kind of hear the evolution, I'm curious about that. And so going back even further, yeah. And so I keep thinking about all these things, and then I'm asking myself, well, why not just do all of them? So I may do all of them over time. I don't think I'm not going to do them in a row, because I like variety. I got to mix some other artists and bands and things in there. So maybe eventually I'll get to all of them. Oh yes, and the Pulse, Pulse concert. So that's the limit. That's what I should do. I think I asked this question once, and maybe I wrote it down somewhere. But if we take the Pulse concert, or Pompeii? Shoot, I forgot which one. Well, either one, whatever concert. I need to hear all the music, all the albums that are in those concerts first. That's what I should do. Then watch the concerts, and then I can go back and look at or listen to other albums then. So that should be kind of the gate I want to get to before I hear the live shows, or before I watch the concerts. I got to hear all the music. But the wall I'm going to do next. That'll be the next reaction. Catherine says, all of the comments about Sid are undoubtedly right. It makes me sad that his deterioration was the inspiration for this album. I don't think Waters ever wholly recovered from the loss of his friend. Cheesesteak, you don't have to apologize for misspellings. Metal Pulse. Okay, Sweetie's giving me a content strategy here. The wall, then metal, then Pulse, then Atom Heart Mother, then Live at Pompeii. I mean, all right. Let me just take a little screenshot of that. Got it. Reissues. Later reissues. Dark Side of the Moon was re-released in 2003 on a 180-gram virgin vinyl and mastered by Kevin Gray at Acoustic Mastering. It included slightly different versions of the posters and stickers that came with the original vinyl release, along with a new 30th anniversary poster. In 2007, the album was included in Oh, By the Way, a box set celebrating the 40th anniversary of Pink Floyd and a DRM free version was released on the iTunes Store. In 2011, it was reissued featuring a remastered version with various other material. And here's the one that I listened to. In 2023, Pink Floyd released Dark Side of the Moon 50th anniversary box set, including a newly remastered edition of the album, surround sound mixes, including the 5.1 mix and a new Dolby Atmos mix, which apparently is not on Apple Music, a photo book, and The Dark Side of the Moon Live at Wembley 1974 on vinyl. In 2024, the 50th anniversary LP edition was re-released in 2 clear vinyl LPs. Only one side of each LP is playable to allow the UV artwork to be printed on the non-groove side. That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Dan says, as an audiophile fan, you can probably skip Final Cut. So what does that mean? Is Final Cut not a clear recording, or is it stylistically something I wouldn't be into? Or maybe something that you're not into, Dan? Jonathan says, the first video under the live stream for me is a Gen Z reacting to Dark Side of the Moon for the first time, posted 3 days ago. People are still finding Pink Floyd. Yeah, they are. Cheesesteak says a lot of Gen Z reactors are listening to Dark Side, most likely because they see how many thumbs up they get for that album, and it's delightful to see how many of them are very pleasantly surprised. Oh, and Workmatic says it's a solo album by Roger with Pink Floyd name on it. Oh, interesting. Okay. Jonathan says, not trying to start a fight, but y'all actually like the Final Cut. Okay, so we're the chat is divided on Final Cut. Oh my God, we're only like this far down in the Wikipedia page. This is like the longest Wikipedia page I think I've ever encountered. Oh my God. Oh. Maybe I can skim some of this. Oh, wait a minute. The success of the album brought wealth to all 4 members of the band. Richard Wright and Roger Waters bought large country houses. Nick Mason became a collector of upmarket cars. The group were fans of the British comedy troupe Monty Python, and as such, some of the profits were invested into the production of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Parsons received a Grammy Award nomination for Best Engineered Recording Non-Classical for Dark Side of the Moon, and went on to have a successful career as a recording artist with the Alan Parsons Project. Although Waters and Gilmour have on occasion downplayed his contribution to the success, Mason praised his role. In 2003, Parsons reflected, I think they all felt that I managed to hang the rest of my career on Dark Side of the Moon, which has an element of truth to it. But I still wake up occasionally frustrated about the fact that they made untold millions and a lot of people involved in the record didn't. Catherine says, long wiki page? Welcome to Pink Floyd Obsession. Workmatic. I'm Team David. I'm can't even read it without laughing. I'm Team David. I think Roger is a douche, just a very talented one. Jonathan also on Team David for sure. Oh wow, Cheesesteak says yes. Roger Waters, humanism values definitely get him into trouble and are confusing. But when your grandfather dies in the first war and your father is in the second, that's where that comes from. Here we go. I wonder if they'll talk about. Oh, maybe not. Part of the legacy of Dark Side of the Moon is its influence on modern music and on the musicians who have performed cover versions of its songs. It is often seen as a pivotal point in the history of rock music, and comparisons are sometimes made with Radiohead's 1997 album OK Computer, including a premise explored by Ben Schleifer in Speak to Me, The Legacy of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, that the two albums share a theme that the creative individual loses the ability to function in the modern world. That's an interesting statement. Yeah. In a 2018 book about classic rock, Stephen Hayden recalls concluding in his teens that The Dark Side of the Moon and Led Zeppelin IV were the two greatest albums of the genre. Vision quests encompassing the twin poles of teenage desire. They had similarities in that both albums cover and internal work eschew pictures of the bands in favor of inscrutable iconography without any tangible meaning, which always seemed to give the music packaged inside more meaning. But whereas Led Zeppelin had looked outward toward conquering the world and were known at the time for their outrageous sexual antics on tour, Pink Floyd looked inward toward overcoming your own hangups. And then the bit about Dark Side being preserved by the Library of Congress. True. The debate on the teams happening in the chat. Oh, here we go. Actual rankings now. Dark Side of the Moon frequently appears on professional rankings of the greatest albums. 1987, Rolling Stone ranked it as the 35th best albums of the preceding 20 years. 35th. Rolling Stone ranked it 43 on its 2003 and 2012 list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. At number 55, it dropped in 2020. Both Rolling Stone and Q have listed Dark Side of the Moon as the best progressive rock album. How is it so low? I'm curious as to what Rolling Stone ranked. What are the albums about? Is that going to be like? Is Rolling Stone going to say Thriller as number one? It's bonkers. Cheesesteak says they're sending a new Voyager out and they're putting Dark Side on it this time. Is that true? That'd be hilarious. Yeah, Cheesesteak, that's a great question. Are they going by sales, and are they asking like country western and hip hop stars? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just say I disagree. I don't know what's on. I'm sure whatever is ranked above this album. I don't know how many of those albums I heard, but I probably would like them a lot less than Dark Side of the Moon. That's my prediction. Voted 8th best. Okay, Australian Broadcasting Company Corporation. Viewers voted Dark Side of the Moon their favorite album. And then NME, what's NME? New Musical Express, British music, film, gaming, and culture website, voted it 8th best. Okay, so it's all over the place. It's mixed. Well, in 2007, VH1 named Dark Side of the Moon the 4th greatest album cover. Like, covers and... Oh, here we go, Wizard of Oz. All right, I'm going to skip down to Wizard of Oz. In the 1990s, it was discovered that playing Dark Side of the Moon alongside the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz produced moments of apparent synchronicity, and it was suggested that this was intentional. Such moments include Dorothy beginning to jog at the lyric, "No one told you when to run," during time, balancing on a fence tightrope style during the line "balanced on the biggest wave" in Breathe, and putting her ear to the Tin Man's chest as the album's closing heartbeats are heard. Parsons and members of Pink Floyd denied any connection, with Parsons calling it a complete load of eyewash. If you play any record with the sound turned down on the TV, you will find things that work. So Jonathan says they don't know how to rank. Apparently, I agree with that. Cheesesteak says, I remember when they did that, there was controversy, and I think it was intentional. Oh, you're talking about the rankings. Okay. Wait a second. Dark Side of the Moon redo? For the 50th anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon, Waters recorded a new version? Dark Side of the Moon redo is the 7th studio album by Roger Waters, produced by Gus Seifert, and Waters redo is released in 2022. It was recorded with no other members of Pink Floyd? Features spoken word sections and more downbeat arrangements with no guitar solos. Waters said he wanted to bring out the heart and soul of the album musically and spiritually. He also said it is intended to be taken from the perspective of an older man, as not enough people recognized what it's about, what it was I was saying then. So Cheesesteak, he said, yes, he basically did it to prove it was his. To Waters. So this is so what's all right, I didn't pick up on it when you're debating on which team you guys were on. So there's clearly some... Oh, Jonathan says basically got rid of David Gilmour. So this was like an I mean, I don't know, but I mean, this sounds basically what you're saying in the chat is that this to me sounds like an ego move, an ego-driven move to separate himself from the other members. Is that correct? Dan says Waters then stepped out of his front door and yelled, "Get off my lawn." Workmatic says Roger was a control freak. His career after Pink Floyd shows that it was the band and not him. Wow. Okay. Roger Waters' egos is so big. That's why he left the band after Final Cut, says Jonathan. Oh, got it. That's unfortunate. Cheesecake says he did it. He said he did it just to focus on the lyrics to get the point of the music across. But it was taken as a big F you to Gilmore. Yeah, I mean, that's how I take it just by reading this. I mean, why, like, I've never been in a band, but if I was in a band and we created an album together and then one band member went off and recreated that album on their own, that's what I would think. I would think that guy's a prick. That's what I would think. Okay. Oh, these are all the... Oh, so this is... All right, so this is extra long Wikipedia, but these are all the citations and charts and things. Wow. Oh my God, 2 hours and 12 minutes just trying to get through this one Wikipedia page. Incredible. God. It's just fascinating. Fascinating. I mean, to make any album, for any group of people to get together and make an album is some kind of, I don't know, epic effort. So many things have to go right and you've got to get along and all of that, but this album, this one is different. This one is different because there's so many things. There's so many little things that happened that at the time probably felt like nothing, and then end up being such a crucial ingredient to the final product. That, I mean, it's not unlike, I mean, I made a video kind of about that theme. That was the basically the Superpowers video that I made about The Warning, where you have all these things that have to be right, that have to come together for the final output to be what it is. And that's essentially what, like I said, that Superpower video was talking about, like the family unit, them all being, The Warning, the sisters being all interested in music. They had decided to play different instruments, the support system, everything about their trajectory and all of that, the things, that they're readers and so that they can write these amazing lyrics and on and on and on. And man, like, but not equating, but these are just two bands, The Warning kind of in general, is kind of like a miracle that all of these things happen to get them to where they are today, and etc., and wherever they go. But then like this, you could say this album specifically has such a phenomenal number of those ingredients that had to happen, and tragic ones, right? Like you mentioned with Sid, to get this album to happen, right? And without those things, without any of those things, this album probably doesn't happen, which is just, I don't know, like I'm not a, I don't like using the word miracle because it's like I feel like it's this crazy combination of ingredients that you put together seemingly randomly, that when added together just created something unfathomable. I feel you. Crazy. Well, you guys, for you people in the chat who've been watching at least part of this, I'll go back to there's a pinned comment in the live chat that basically says, I want to find video like this of maybe me talking about the Wikipedia page or the album and splice that into the original Dark Side reaction and then re-upload it. So I would like your opinion, if you've seen, as you've followed this through, is that worthwhile doing? I mean, I want to try it as an edit. I'm just wondering if you think that'll be interesting or not. Oh, Jonathan says, I'm surprised nobody has mentioned it, so I'll say it. Today marks the 20 years since the death of Syd Barrett. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Catherine says, it can't hurt anything, but your time, it would definitely be worth it if you're willing to do it. Yeah, I'm willing to do it. I think what I'll, if I think about it for a second, so hopefully over the last 2 hours, I can look through this and see if there's some interesting bits that I can splice and insert into the original reaction that'll make sense and I don't know, make the reaction even better. Maybe if I'm gonna put an optimistic hat on and see if that works. And if it doesn't, I mean, I'll try it. If it doesn't work, then maybe I'll come back and do just start going through some lyrics and stuff, kind of do a similar thing and see if that works. So I might try that. Cheesesteak, thank you. Thank you, Cheesesteak. You said, anything you do about Pink Floyd, I'll watch. Unlike other reactors, you understand how important this music is, not just doing it for the clicks. Thank you, Cheesesteak. I appreciate that. Yeah. Just finding good music. That's all I want to do. That is why this whole YouTube channel started and exists. It is a bummer, though. I don't know. Yeah, it's frustrating that one got blocked and other people can still do it, but yeah, I don't want to let this one die. This reaction I did, I want it. I don't know. I gotta try. I gotta try to do it. See if I can get it. I don't know. It's a bummer. But yeah. Cheesesteak, am I on Twitch? I do have a Twitch channel normally, so I'm not right now. A lot of times I'll stream live to both Twitch and YouTube at the same time, but I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that today. I don't know why I didn't. I can't remember. I was setting this up today, and I can't remember why I said I wasn't going to do Twitch. I don't know. It's probably a bad idea. Probably should be doing both. Oh, let me do this. Hopefully this doesn't kill anything. Hold on. Okay. Twitch or Discord? Workmatic, yeah. I am on Discord. I am on Discord. If you go to my channel homepage and you click the little about, or it says like view more links. There's, a stupid paragraph I wrote, and there should be a link to the Discord in there. Oh, and Cheesesteak or anybody, Discord, Twitch. On Twitch, I'm the same handle as YouTube. It's just my name, so you can just copy and paste it. But I haven't been doing as much on Twitch. I was really doing it for a while, and then I don't know, I've kind of tailed off. But this would have been the perfect thing to do on Twitch. I don't know why I didn't do that. Dan, you said try putting minimum edits and see if it passes through with not a lot of effort. Yeah, Dan, that's what I want to do. Like I said, the hard part, as all of you know, the best way to listen to Dark Side of the Moon is just to put it on track 1 and hit play. Period. And that's what I did or tried to do in the reaction. And so to your point, Dan, I don't want to interrupt that. I want to do it as minimally as possible. And so, yes, I will try to do the absolute minimum. The the trick is going to be I won't know for a while if it's going to work, because it's always going to tell me, YouTube is always going to tell me it found copyright content, because there's going to be some sections of the songs that it knows the songs, whatever. And like the last time, it probably will let me make it public if I insert some edits to it. But like the last one, it was public for a while, and then it got blocked later. So I don't think I can prevent that part from happening, but we'll have to see. I don't know how many times YouTube will let me do it, or if they'll know, like, oh, you're just uploading the same video with some edits or not. I don't know. I've never been in this situation, so I'm trying to feel it out and figure it out. See you guys on Discord. Don't trail off on Discord? What do you mean, Catherine? Did I trail off? Yeah, go in there. Hey, if you guys join the Discord, let me know how easy it is to join it, because we've got some things. You've got to agree to some rules and so forth. Some, basically saying that you're not going to be a jerk. And I want to know if that's easy or difficult to get through. And if it's difficult, let me know, and then I can change some things. Oh, I mentioned I'd sort of trailed off. Yeah, there is a Discord. Here, let me just do this. Oh, I'm not signed in. Oh, why am I not signed in? Okay, so here. All right, hopefully you can see this. So if you go to the homepage, you click here, this 4 more links thing, and then here's the Discord. So you can get there by clicking that. And then let me know. Let me know if it's, if you get in there, yeah, just drop a message or something if you thought it was super complicated or easy or whatever. Russell says, I bought Darkside on the day of its UK release. Took years to hear and notice and find all the details. I wonder if there's more to find. Russell, I assume there is. I mean, I think I'll speak for myself. I mean, as I age, all the I just take example the bands that I've been listening to for 20 years. I don't know if you necessarily find things, but the meaning definitely changes. So I imagine that'll be a constant. Catherine, you said it's easy from your point of view. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, and if you're new to the Discord, then go into the introductions thing and say hello, because you will get absolutely bombarded with people responding and introducing themselves. It's a friendly place. There's a lot of people talking about K-pop in there. Don't be afraid. But yeah, everybody's there. It's open for everybody who wants to join. Oh, should I go into? No, I shouldn't do. I just kind of just have to figure it out. Okay. Cool. Catherine, oh heavens, don't be afraid of us K-popers. Diverse Mercy Lord. Yeah. No, Catherine, you're right. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's just similar to my channel, my YouTube channel in general. Most of the subscribers, 2/3, more than 2/3 are fans of, found me or subscribed because they're fans of K-pop. So there's a lot of K-pop influence in the Discord. But everybody likes all kinds of music. That's what's great about it, is everybody really enjoys the variety. So it's fun. Cheesesteak says, I'm not afraid. I'm with a reactor group named Half-Light Sitta. We listen to all kinds of music. What's great about it is stuff I never would have listened to. Yeah, there you go. Jonathan, all right, awesome. Yeah, say hi. Go to the introductions channel and say hello. I'm with a reactor group? Cheesesteak, what do you mean by a reactor group? Curious about that. Now we're getting... Oh, no! Wait a minute. So who won... Was it Argentina and Egypt were playing? Jonathan, don't worry. Everybody in there is super cool. You can... If you say in your intro just the type of music that you're into, and a bunch of people are going to say, so am I, this is awesome. We have a little section. Jonathan, since you're here in this chat, I assume you're into rock. So there is a little rock channel that we in there too. Music first, that's right, Cheesesteak, yes. Music first is the right place. Especially not being a fan. Jonathan, you're not a fan of K-pop yet. That's what they'll say. That's what Catherine would say. Right, Catherine? You just need to find the right K-pop. There's an incredible amount of variety underneath the K-pop label. So I'm sure you'd find something you like if you give it a chance. Catherine can rattle off a couple suggestions for you if you're interested. It is a huge, yes, it's a great, huge umbrella. Huge is correct. It's also can be overwhelming because there's so many different groups and so much variety. Workmatic Googles what K-pop is. Oh, wow. I can relate, Workmatic, because I was completely unfamiliar before I started this YouTube channel. Coming up on 2 years, it'll be 2 years in September, and that changed everything. That changed everything. There you go, Catherine. Yep. Listen to Tony's K-pop reactions. There's, yeah, that's somebody mentioned it, but that's what I've learned is that there's a lot of, well, I should say it's all genres really. People will have a favorite genre, but everybody listens to a whole bunch of stuff, right? So, I mean, I listen to a lot. I feel like I listen to a lot of different music. So there's a bunch of people in there. They all listen to different types of music. Everybody talks about it. It's good. Half-Life Sister. She has done a lot of YouTube reactions with her husband, Wolf. She's on Twitch 2 times a week for a couple years now, and we do reactions, all type of people. Great. Half-Life Sister. Oh, Cheesesteak. Okay, I think I've heard that. I think I've heard of that name or seen that name around. That sounds familiar. On Twitch 2 times a week. Oh, and Cheesesteak, you're saying they're doing live reactions on Twitch. Is that right? That's probably how you can get around the not being blocked, because I don't think Twitch will shut you down in the middle of it like YouTube does, like YouTube has done to me. Hello, hello. How are you? I'm fine. I'm good. Loved your previous reactions to Stray Kids. They're going to be releasing a new comeback album. They already posted a music video for one of the songs. Yes, I'm aware that Stray Kids have a comeback soon. Is August or September? And yes, I will listen to that. But yeah, I'm waiting for that release. I'm not doing any of the singles. Not doing any of the singles. Is this the same? No, it's not the same song. Okay, well, we got some. I'm not even on Discord right now, or not in there. I should go in there. All right, gang. I think that's gonna do it for today. Then I think I've got enough to try to edit that Dark Side reaction. I actually want to start on it this afternoon, so I'm gonna do that. Have I listened to Run It by Stray Kids? No, I have not heard anything from them since their last release. So nothing new. Let's go. Yeah, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna end. Oh, Cheesesteak, yes, on Twitch you just pay a fee for a reaction, but it's a great group of people. Oh, wait, all right. Whoops, what did I do there? No, not that. Ah, dang it. Okay, Cheesesteak, I'm gonna check that out, how they're doing that. Catherine, thank you for this. Gonna make me go back and listen to Dark Side of the Moon and some stuff from their early discography. Awesome. Yes, that's what we should be doing. Cheesesteak says, I discovered a band called Squid there. Check them out. They're English postmodern punk. Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for chatting with me, guiding me through all the music. Thanks for joining the Discord. I'll be in there in a minute. I think I'm gonna grab some food and then come back, and then I'll jump into Discord. And then I'm probably this afternoon gonna do some edits to see if I can, I don't know, make this work somehow. All right, that's all for me. Thanks, everybody.